Right. So I'll begin by mentioning, perhaps you all are aware that out of the Sino-Indian border or the line of actual control, a significant portion of it lies in the Eastern Command. And along this line of actual control, we have a number of areas, a number of points where patrols from both sides interact, either in a scheduled manner or at times as a chance kind of encounter. We also have certain areas of differing perceptions here, wherein our perception of the LAC is different from what the Chinese perception is. Especially in these areas, sometimes the patrols come face to face, which then results in a face-off. But I must also mention that we have a very robust mechanism, SOPs, protocols, because of which we are able to resolve such situations as and when they arise. The role of our commanders, our junior leaders who are actually leading the patrols, I believe is extremely important in this context, because they are the ones who have to develop correct mutual understanding with the commanders on the other side. And then if there are any issues that arise, we try and resolve it at the local commanders level, and that has worked out well. I must also mention that we have a very robust conflict resolution mechanism in terms of when required, organizing meetings between the two sides at different levels. We have a mechanism of hotlines. We also meet in what is referred to as border personal meetings. So far in the Eastern Command, we had 3 hotlines. A 4th one was recently operationalized. Some of you may be aware of this. So this is the kind of mechanism that we have. Now, insofar as the activities on the other side of the LAC is concerned, there are 3-4 issues I would want to highlight. Firstly, the annual training exercise that the PLA carries out, I would say there has been some increase in the level of activity, but that is in the depth areas. Secondly, some of the reserve formations of the PLA which were mobilized have continued to remain in their training areas, but that again is in the operational depth. Both sides are attempting to develop infrastructure closer to the line of actual control, and again leads to certain issues at times. And lastly, since this infrastructure has come up close to the LAC, there has been a marginal increase in the number of border defense troops who already are deployed at the LAC. So this in brief is what are the, or if I would say, summation of the PLA activities opposite the Eastern Command. You also asked as to what is our level of operational preparedness. So taking note of all this, we have taken a number of steps, number of measures. I think the foremost would be enhancing our surveillance, both close to the line of actual control as well as in the depth areas. Now this we are doing by synergizing effort of our all surveillance resources, right from the strategic level, the satellites, etc., till the tactical level where you have our soldiers actually deployed on the line of actual control. Secondly, in terms of adequacy of troops, adequacy of forces, I would say we have adequate forces that are available in each sector to deal with any contingency that may arise. And we are also practicing and rehearsing on various contingencies that may come about. In certain areas where our deployment was thin, we have strengthened that deployment, but largely I would say there has been no major increase or increment in terms of the number of forces that we have which are deployed on the LAC. We also are looking at maximizing the potential or incorporating technology to the maximum extent possible, be it in terms of increasing our surveillance or the ISR capabilities, or in terms of communications, and likewise. So that in a nutshell would be my answer to your question with respect to what is happening across the LAC and what is sort of our level of operational preparedness.
Either from their side or our side, have we objected to any of their constructions, or have they objected to any of our constructions? Can you elaborate on that?
So whenever there is any infrastructure development that happens in sensitive areas or areas of different perceptions, that is something which we bring it to the notice of the other side, and we convey our concerns, our sensitivities in an appropriate manner, and that is how, and if required, we lodge a protest, or there are different mechanisms of conveying our concerns. But in terms of each one's attempt to increase the forward connectivity to the LAC, that is, I would say, an ongoing activity or an ongoing exercise. Yes, please.
Sir, Manu Papi from the Economic Times. Sir, there are three areas of concern, which we have been tracking from Delhi about the Eastern Command. If you can give an update on each of these. So one is, of course, developments at Natula. We have been hearing of some face-offs, some as recent as last month, in which troops have come face to face. If you can give an update on that, sir. Secondly, sir, what is the state of deployments and on the Doklam battle? Are we more strongly placed there than we were in the past since 2017? And thirdly, sir, on the Asafila sector, again reports of increased Chinese activity. Any concerns on that?
So I'll take your last area that you mentioned, or the last area that you referred to. We have observed some infrastructure development on the Chinese side close to the LAC in terms of essentially habitat, and that has led to correspondingly more number of troops that are now located or placed there. But in terms of, incidentally, the area that you refer to is one of the areas we have different perceptions of the LAC. In terms of the number of patrols coming close to the LAC from the other side, there has only been a marginal increase vis-a-vis the activities that were happening in the last, shall we say, couple of years. The first area that you mentioned, again, is an area where we've had certain differences in perception vis-a-vis what we think is the LAC and what the other side thinks. But like I mentioned in my first answer. Now, these are the areas where the patrols or each other's patrol do come face to face. And I mentioned there are standard drills, SOPs, which are mutually agreed upon to resolve these issues. Sometimes these face-off last a little longer, but most of them, or in fact all of them, we are able to resolve at the tactical level or at the level of the local commanders. And you mentioned of the second area. Now that is something which both sides are fully aware of the sensitivities of each other. I would say in terms of increase in troop levels, there hasn't been any major increase. And the infrastructure again has remained what it was earlier. Yes.
So it's pretty clear that China has been adopting a policy of aggressive posturing along the IBC and IBC. So have you seen any sign of any possible flash of between two sides face off? And as mentioned, in fact, Doklam, we have now agreement between Chinese government and Bhutanese government, and Bhutan have been laying claim on Doklam for a long time, and we don't know what is the resolution. But if there is a complete agreement, as they resolve to address the issues as soon as possible under the latest agreement, do you think if any resolution of Doklam and it goes to the Chinese side, I mean what they have been claiming, will it impact India's security interest in the region? So how do you see it, the latest fact? And have you seen any kind of possible indication of any flashpoints that may occur in this sector between two sides, India and China?
The area and subject that you just mentioned, I would say, is in the domain of boundary negotiation between two neighboring countries. And I think it will be prudent for me not to comment on this. And as you are aware, these boundary negotiations have been going on for some time. And I am sure the concerned agencies, the concerned authorities have taken correct note of these recent developments and would be acting accordingly. So I'll limit my comments to this much. Yeah, there.
Good morning, sir. Sir, Ajay Ranji from the Tribune this side. Sir, two little clarifications. You referred to the Chinese exercises and the troops which have come in, they have remained where they are. Sir, are these exercises south of the Sangpo or north of the Sangpo? What is the position east of Namcha Barpa? If you could please specify on that.
So without getting into the specifics of which training areas these are, all these areas are in what we refer as operational depth or much in the depth of the LAC. And these are their traditional training areas. And the focus, as per inputs available to us, of these exercises has been integrated joint operations between various elements, between various arms or their defense forces. Yes.
Shudhirajan from the Bloomberg, sir. Two quick questions. One, we have a huge amount of sensitivity on the Siliguri corridor. Is there a plan or thinking about that area, how to kind of circumvent our difficulties there? And secondly, sir, if you could broadly give us an understanding on the IBGization that you have seen or you are bringing about in your sector, sir.
Right. So insofar as Siliguri corridor is concerned, I'm sure most of you are aware it's a stretch of land bordering Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh. measuring approximately 170 by 60 kilometers. At the narrowest, it is about 22 kilometers. The geostrategic significance of the Siliguri corridor comes about in terms of it being a narrow piece of land which connects the northeast India to the rest of the part of the country, through which our major national highways, railway line, your pipelines, your OFC connectivity and the rest pass. It also stems from the fact that the Chumbi Valley of the Tibet Autonomous Region and its proximity to the Siliguri corridor. But alongside the geostrategic significance, I would say, is the aspect of the demography and its dynamics in that area, where you have different demographic composition, different demographic groups who reside there, and there are related challenges of radicalization and separatist tendencies whose activities can be inimical to our security interest. So yes, Siliguri corridor is sensitive to us. As far as what we are doing to address this issue, I would say we are looking at a whole of the nation approach, wherein not only the security forces, that is the military and certain other CAPFs, but also the state governments of the states around Siliguri corridor, the central agencies, we are all working together in a coordinated manner to mitigate this threat during normal times, the hybrid threat as and when it manifests, as also during conflict conditions. Only recently we've set up a joint coordination center or a joint coordination mechanism under the army, and that has proved to be effective to again coordinate actions, activities of all the agencies that work there. At the national level also there is a thought process to look at alternate means as in terms of economic activities, etc., to mitigate this threat to the Siliguri corridor. So that was, I think, what was the next one? Yes. Insofar as the integrated battle groups are concerned, you would agree with me that the changing character of warfare, the extent threats that we face and the threats in the future necessitate that we have our forces which are agile, lean and mean, so that we are able to employ them in a faster time frame. Technological developments in the sphere of mobility, in the spheres of long range precision, strike ability, communication, etc., also demand that we change our concept of war fighting and evolve new organizational structures. So I would say the creation of the integrated battle groups is a logical step towards our effort in fighting and winning wars of the future in an integrated all-arms environment. And towards this, an in principle acceptance of the need for IBGization has been given. Now to evolve the exact structures, organization, etc., that is something which is currently underway.
Sir, So here, sir, on your right. Sorry, on your left, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So you mentioned about the fact that there is an increased Chinese presence in depth areas. A slight increase in the patrol thing. As of now, what we given to understand is that in the eastern sector we are fairly well entrenched. But in the long run, so how do you see this playing out in the long run over the next 2 to 3 years? China is building up a lot of infrastructure which is coming close to the LAC. This will give them a higher mobility than what they have already have at this moment. So how do you see this India-China standoff going forward over the next 2 to 3 years, sir?
Right. So like you mentioned, in terms of infrastructure development, I mean, they're looking at this aspect both at the, shall we say, strategic infrastructure as well as closer to the LAC. But likewise, you would be aware that even from our side, there are a number of initiatives that have been taken at the highest level, again, as a whole of nation approach, and wherein both our strategic infrastructure in terms of railway lines, airfields and advanced landing grounds, connectivity across Brahmaputra River, national highways. So these are the projects, some of them already underway, under construction, others in the pipeline. And likewise, we have our plans for infrastructure development in the forward areas. So the disparity in infrastructure that is made out to exist, I would say I do not entirely agree to it. There is equal amount of efforts on our side to develop our infrastructure. Likewise, in terms of capability building, capability development, just as there are a number of measures which the other side is taking in terms of capacity building, and so are we in terms of our ability to effectively be able to counter this threat. Yeah, please.
So the Eastern Ladakh में पिछले 1 साल में जो हुआ उसके बाद से क्या कुछ स्ट्रैटेजिकल चेंज आप देखते हैं खासतौर पर इस एरिया में चीन और खासतौर पर उनके पेट्रोलिंग पैटर्न में क्या कुछ आप चेंज देखते हैं पिछले 1 साल में इन एरिया में?
जैसे मैंने पहले एक प्रश्न के जवाब में बताया है, जहां तक ईस्टर्न कमांड का सवाल है, जो उनका पेट्रोलिंग पैटर्न, उसके नंबर्स या तादाद, उसमें उतनी बढ़ोतरी या उसमें उतना कोई अंतर आया नहीं है. कई इलाकों में थोड़ा मार्जिनल इंक्रीज है, मार्जिनल बढ़ोतरी हमने देखी है, पर ओवरऑल पिछले 1-1.5 साल में मेरी समझ में उसमें कोई इतनी वृद्धि या इतनी कोई चेंज नहीं नजर आई है.
Sir, I'm Shivani from Republic TV. I would like to ask, as we approach the winters, this would be the second. Sir, I'm Shivani from Republic TV. As we know that this would be the second winter halt in the whole eastern sector, will the deployments be changing, and what is our preparedness for the coming winter?
Right. So, without getting into the specifics of what would change in the winters vis-a-vis the summers, I mean, I'll suffice it to say that we have a different strategy or as different plans for our deployments, our plans to guard the line of actual control in the summers vis-a-vis winters. Just to highlight a few aspects, since you asked this, during summers, a fair amount of our areas along the LAC do get covered with snow, do get cut off. So there are challenges of having regular maintenance of these posts in such areas, keeping the roads and tracks to these areas clear of snow. There are challenges related to medical issues, casualty evacuations. Our attempt is also to increase the comfort of our soldiers who are deployed in the forward areas, in terms of equipping them well with the required special clothing, heating arrangements. We have undertaken a number of steps to improve the habitat or their living conditions, so they are then able to focus better on their primary job, which is the domination of the line of control and likewise, line of actual control and likewise. So yes, we have a different set of or a different strategy for the winters, which in fact we have already put in place, and that also includes stocking our post with all the logistics, rations, fuel, etc. Should they get cut off for a prolonged period.
Sir, I'm Bhuvan from AFP, sir. Here. Hi.
Yeah.
I just want to know, China in general has seen hardening of stance on what it calls core national issues in the last few years, last 3 years. Do you see what's happening between India and China as part of that trend, or do you see what's happening with India and China separate from that? And would you agree with some views that this is part of that entire trajectory of how it's treating in Taiwan or South China Sea and otherwise?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Do you see China in general has hardened its stand on what it calls its core national issues? Do you see what's happening between India and China as a part of that entire arc? Is it part of that entire Chinese trajectory of hardening its stance on different issues that are important to it? Or do you see it not connected to what's happening in what it's doing with Taiwan or South China Sea or some of the other regions?
Right. All I would say is, what happened in the last year and a half is something which has been a matter of concern to us and which has been articulated as such at different levels. But from our side, and specifically from the point of view of the Eastern Command, ours is to make sure that our preparedness levels, our ability to respond, our ability to react to any contingencies that may arise is always of a very high order, and that is what precisely we are focusing on here in the Eastern Theatre.
But do you see them linked?
Yeah.
But do you see them linked? What China is doing in South China Sea or with Vietnam or with Taiwan, and what it's doing with India?
See, again, something which is, you have seen the activities that are happening across its neighbors. So, I suppose, in terms of its overall, shall we say, behavior, we can draw our own conclusions as to it in terms of what is its design, what its aims and objectives are. Yeah.
नीरज राजपूत ABP न्यूज़ से, और मेरा सवाल ये है कि जब हम लोग यहाँ पर हिमाचल प्रदेश में, और ये वही जगह है जब 1962 के युद्ध में मुख्य लड़ाइयाँ यहीं पर लड़ी गई थी। हालांकि सैनिकों और ब्रह्मपुत्र में बहुत पानी रह चुका है, लेकिन बहुत सालों तक हमारी जो रणनीति थी वो डिफेंसिव थी कि हम डिफेंड करेंगे। क्या आपने देखा या हम लोग मान सकते हैं कि आने वाले समय में ये अभी हमारा जो पोस्चर होगा, जैसे कि चाइनीज खेलने का बहुत एग्रेसिव पोस्चर है, क्या हमारा भी इस तरह की रणनीति हो सकती है कि हम अपना एग्रेसिव पोस्चर इसी तरह के हाथों से
जहाँ तक हमारे पोस्चर का सवाल है, हमें यह समझना पड़ेगा कि जो नॉर्मल हालात में जब हम LAC पर है, वहाँ पर हमारा पोस्चर, जो हमारे अलग अलग प्रोटोकॉल्स, एग्रीमेंट चाइना के साथ हुए हैं, जिसका कि मकसद शांति या पीस और ट्रैंक्विलिटी को मेंटेन करना है, उस लिहाज से या उस दिशा में है। और जिसमें कि जितने भी हमारे फॉरवर्ड ट्रूप्स LAC पर है, हमारा यही उद्देश्य रहता है कि वहां पर एग्रेसिवनेस ना दिखाई जाए, मैच्योर्ड तरीके से जो भी सिचुएशंस है, अपने फ्रेंडली रिलेशंस और कॉर्डियल रिलेशंस हम मेंटेन करें दूसरी साइड के साथ। हैविंग सेड दिस, यदि कोई ऐसी हालात होते हैं, यदि कोई जरूरत पड़ती है, तो हमने वो भी पूरी तैयारी उसके रखना जरूरी है। तो उसके लिए जैसे मैंने पहले बताया, हमारे कॉन्टिजेंसी प्लान रेडी है। और यदि सिचुएशन उससे आगे कोई होती है, तो अब ये कहना कि हमारा एग्रेसिव है या डिफेंसिव है, मैं यही कहूँगा कि ये दोनों का जब हम रणनीति बनाते हैं या हमारे प्लान्स बनाते हैं उसमें ये दोनों कंपोनेंट्स या दोनों का उतना ही सहभाग रहता है. Yeah, okay.
So you talked of, you said there's not much of increase in numbers in your area in the thing. So which means you are obviously using more of technological advancements and your induction. Can you touch upon those aspects? What kind of, in what way have you kind of built up your technological advancements, keep an eye to offset requirement of numbers?
Right.
Your inductions as well of practice.
So I briefly had mentioned about our focus on surveillance, and towards this we have inducted a number of niche technologies, be it the drones, the surveillance drones, be it the long distance unarmed aerial surveillance vehicles. We also have better surveillance radars, we have better communication systems, we have better night vision ability. So, introduction of technology or defense technology and its operationalization within the defense forces, specifically in the Eastern Theatre, has remained one of our key areas. And I must assure you, towards this direction, a number of steps have been taken, and I will not get into the specifics of each one of them. But yes, your observation in terms of utilizing niche technology to correctly dominate and keep the areas under observation surveillance is one of the areas which I've been paying particular attention to. Yeah, I think the lady there, please.
सर आपने मेंशन किया कि पीएलए अब एंटीग्रेटेड एक्सरसाइज उनकी ले रही है, तो ये कब से हुआ है कि एक्सरसाइज क्योंकि बहुत विजिबल होती है हमारे एरिया से भी, तो एंटीग्रेटेड एक्सरसाइज वो कब से कर रहे हैं? कि दूसरा उनके बॉर्डर डिफेंस विलेजेस हैं, उनका क्या स्टेटस है? क्या वो बढ़ रहे हैं या 2-3 साल पहले जितने थे उतने हैं?
जहाँ तक एक्सरसाइजेस का सवाल है, जैसे मैंने बताया, वार्षिक तौर पर उनके जो ट्रेडिशनल ट्रेनिंग एरियाज आए वहाँ पर पहले भी हर साल इनके एक्सरसाइजेस होते रहे हैं. हालांकि इस साल उसकी थोड़ा स्केल में हो सकता है थोड़ी उसमें बढ़ोतरी आई है और थोड़ा ज़्यादा ड्यूरेशन के लिए मेरी समझ में वो एक्सरसाइजेस चल रहे हैं.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं मानक गुप्ता. अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें, और हां, हमें सब्सक्राइब और फॉलो करना ना भूलें ताकि आप देश और दुनिया की कोई खबर मिस ना करें. तो जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए न्यूज़ 24.